Welcome to Blood Bowl 2 Legendary Edition. This is a French-developed PC adaptation of a British tabletop game inspired by American football. I'm about to play the Human League, a mixed team in the Eternal League. Both the mixed teams and the Eternal League were features introduced in the Legendary Edition expansion. I suppose to entice players of Blood Bowl 2 to upgrade to the Legendary Edition expansion. I don't think it was strictly speaking necessary, because players of Blood Bowl would have upgraded anyway, simply to gain access to the teams they have not seen since Blood Bowl Chaos Edition. Teams like the Amazons, the Vampires, Goblins, Halflings, and so on. But it's a nice feature to have. I'm especially pleased to see the Eternal League here. I enjoy playing Blood Bowl in single player, even though the AI is quite not up to snuff. But it's still a lot of fun, because I think the main draw for Blood Bowl is the campaign. Taking a team of new players, a bunch of greenhorns with poor ball handling skills, and turning them into a team of champions. So we have a choice of competitions to choose from. I think we'll go with the NAF Autumn Championship, seasonal tournament organized by the NAF, in which all teams can participate in. It is an ideal springboard for those aiming to reach the summits. Admission mode, no entrance conditions. Some of the competitions require science. Some of the competitions require a ticket gained from winning another competition. So this one is anyone can join it. The rewards, the first two teams receive a ticket that allow access to the Chaos Cup competition. Let's register. So the game is generating AI teams. Let's see who we are up against. So our first match is going to be against an Orc team. Let's take a look at them. TV1000, a fresh team. Only 2 team rerolls. They do have a troll. They have 4 blitzers, which is standard. They have 4 black orcs, also standard. But they do have a thrower, and they also have a goblin. I think the reason for this is because they picked the troll. A bit of an unusual choice for the Orcs. In Champions Ladder, for example, most teams will stick with 4 blitzers, 4 black orcs, and 3 linemen and 3 team rerolls. So this is an interesting pick by the AI. Let's see how things go for them. Let's take a look at the rest of the league. We have 8 teams. Necromantic team can be a bit tricky. Nurgle at low TV values or low team values, they are not very strong. Kislev Circus, eventually they become very hard to nail down, but at the TV 1000 level they are kind of vulnerable. Chaos, again, TV 1000 not that great. As they gain skills and grow in strength, they become very potent. Very popular in the multiplayer environment, especially in the open ladder and the champs ladder, because chaos teams can be configured easily into killer teams, and usually what happens is they murder everything on the field, and the opposition usually concedes or simply has no choice but to simply sit and watch as the chaos slowly romp to victory. Chaos Dwarf kind of strong at the TV 1000 level, simply because of the Chaos Dwarf blockers and the Bull Centaurs. This is the Orc team we are going to play first, and this is another Orc team. What about this Orc team? Okay, this Orc team is a little more standard. Again, the throw is sort of a controversial pick. Some coaches absolutely swear by it. Other coaches will swear at it. But I think one of the things it's pretty much a personal choice. I will just point out that one of the recent Champions Cups was won by an Orc team with an Orc thrower, but that really doesn't mean that the Orc thrower is a no-brainer prick, a no-brainer pick rather. Interesting, interesting way of mispronouncing that. Okay, let's start the match here. Oh, before that, let's take a look at my team. This is a mixed team, of course. In case you're not very familiar with mixed teams, the concept is you take a pool of between 2 or 5 teams organized by a team, and you pick players from that. It's not, you don't freely pick players from the various teams. There are the usual limitations. If the Amazon team has a maximum of 4 Amazon blitzers, for the mixed team you can also pick a maximum of 4. The costs are also identical. So at the TV 1000 level, there's usually quite a lot of tough choices to make. I will freely concede this is not a optimal pick for the Human League mixed team. What I've done is pretty much try to pick representatives from all 5 teams that comprise the Human League. They are the Human team, the Bretonians, the Kislev team, the Norse, and the Amazons. So I think the pick that is suboptimal is this Norse lineman. It does come with block at 0 SPP at level 1, but it's only AV7. That's one of the problems with this particular setup. I've got a lot of players with AV7. AV7 players, they are below average armor, which means we are going to suffer a lot of injuries during the course of the match. Maybe not just injuries, we are going to suffer a lot of pitch removals. Pitch removals could just mean KOs, but the outcome is well, pretty much the same, since you get fewer players to perform actions with. So this is something to watch out for. I do not have any substitutes. I do have 3 team rerolls. I do not have an apothecary. That's going to be my first purchase, hopefully after this match, but we might have to wait 2 matches to gain sufficient funds. So let's take a look at the team. 3 human linemen. They are going to sit on the line of scrimmage. Hopefully their AV8 average armor will prevent them from getting injured. There's no guarantee that's going to happen. Then we have the Bretonian blitzers, above average movement and average armor. They both come with block as standard, and they also have dauntless. I think it's sort of a valuable pick for this team, because if you take a look at the team, the entire team has only average strength. So if we come up against the Black Orcs and the Troll, which has strength 4 and strength 5 respectively, and the dauntless is going to come in handy. Again, if you're picking the Human League, you might want to pick the Wolf Baroness from the Norse team. I've chosen to stick with human players across the board, so that explains why this team is sort of a below strength. The next picks are the Kislev Circus Catchers. They only have a strength 2, which is a worry, but they have above average movement, and they also come with both the long legs and leap, which means they can get some they can perform some interesting tricky plays. What I'm hoping they'll do is, because of they have above average agility, or they have pretty much elven agility, I'm going to use them to pick up the ball and dodge in and out of trouble, and hopefully gain the first few touchdowns for this team. But again, below average strength, so I have to keep an eye on them, because they are below average armor. They are vulnerable. Next up, we have the Norse representatives. I have a Norse Berserker, average movement, average strength, average agility, below average armor, but it does come with the block and frenzy as well as jump up. So the plan is try to use some sideline cages, try to lure the opposition towards us, and then use the Norse Berserker to push the opposition players off the pitch. Will it work? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. The Norse lineman is sort of is sort of there. Again, I wanted to pick representatives from all the teams, try to spread it out. And then finally we have the Amazon Blitzers, outstanding players at the TV 1000 level, because they both have block and dodge, making it hard for them to be knocked down. But when they get knocked down, their below average armor means they can be removed from the pitch. So again, this is a worry. I have a lot of players with below average armor. Let's see how things go. The Human League versus the Orcs start match. May Nuffle be with us? So we do not get any inducements. I don't think the opposition gets any inducements as well. So we are going to simply start the match after waiting for 9 seconds for no reason whatsoever. So the big news in the world of Blood Bowl 2 is that Cyanide has been purchased by Big Ben, a French publisher. All sorts of questions arise. First one is, why did Cyanide, a game development house that has been around since the year 2000, put itself up for sale? There's no real coverage about that aspect of the story, but I think the fact that Cyanide has released several games after the purchase by Big Ben back in May, I think sort of gives you a big clue. Typically what happens when you're developing games is you run out of funds and then you go to the publisher to gain some additional funding to complete the game. So what happened here is, I think Cyanide ran out of funds because they were developing several projects, including Space Hulk Tactics and Call of Cthulhu. And they also released a Blood Bowl Death Zone, a sort of an odd choice. We will get to that later if we have time. So we are in defense. Let's see. Take a look at this front line for the Orcs. Scary. I think I'm just going to leave it like this. These three linemen are going to get a battering. Nothing to be done about that. So this is a very unusual defensive line. Typically it goes like this, but I'm going to spread it out a little. For a new player, if you look at this defensive setup, you think this is the dumbest thing possible, because there's a lot of room here, so you're pretty much inviting the opposition to run through this way, form a cage somewhere around here, and then score in 2 turns. But that is pretty much counterintuitive, but the point is that is exactly what you want, because if the opposition scores early, that will leave you with plenty of time to score an equalizer, and then in the next half you can casually saunter to a 2-1 victory. So that's something that so this is something that's very counterintuitive, how you think of time and space. My guess is this Troll and the Black Orcs are going to cause a couple of pitch removals, but I don't think I can do anything about that. Confirm setup. Okay, let's hit the X here. We get an extra team reroll, which is very nice. I suspect we are going to be performing a lot of risky plays in an attempt to steal the ball. So anyway, Cyanide has been purchased by Big Ben, and the story is not as clear-cut as that, because initially Focus Home Interactive, the publishers for Blood Bowl 2, wanted to purchase Cyanide. They have a long history with Cyanide, so it would have been a good choice. But what happened was the Focus Home Interactive board refused to sanction the purchase. So and this led to the resignation of the Focus Home Interactive president, who has been with the company for about 2 decades. So this was pretty remarkable. So once Focus Home Interactive was out of the picture, Big Ben stepped in and purchased Cyanide. The reason they gave for that was that they wanted to develop games in-house. Big Ben previously were simply publishing and distributing, so they bought Cyanide for their game development capabilities. So we have an interesting situation here. There's a lot of space over here which we can exploit if we get rid of this blitzer over here. We also have to do something about these 2 players. I think we can perform or put up a roadblock somewhere around here. I'm already down to 10. I think first things first is simply put up some players here. And now is it actually worth going all the way, circling around here to go towards the ball, because the goblin has a dodge and is a slippery customer. So if we put 2 players over here, circle around this side, the goblin is simply going to go this side, and these players who are over here are going to be out of position. So I don't think that's a great move to make. Let's try a blitz with the Norse Berserker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could attempt to blitz, but it would leave him sort of vulnerable. Do I want to do that? Let's. This worked. It's probably a prime target for a blitz. Put the weak Kislev catches behind some protection. To protect this guy, I have to dodge out this guy. Can moral support do it? Yes, he can. What a guy. What a guy. I think this is good enough. So anyway, Big Ben bought Cyanide for about 20 million euros. Half of that was in cash. So this is an interesting scenario because Cyanide is developing Blood Bowl 2. The game is published by Focus Home Interactive, but Cyanide is owned by Big Ben. Now you got to understand that Big Ben and Focus Home are sort of competitors. They're roughly in the same game space. They're both publishers of AA games. AA games, I guess you would, I guess you could call them publishers of games that sell 500,000 copies or below on the PC. And with the purchase of Cyanide, Big Ben has overtaken Focus Home Interactive and become the third largest French publisher. So it's a very interesting scenario here. But for now, everyone has made very soothing noises. They said existing relationships would continue. which you think would mean that the Cyanide will be free to develop Blood Bowl 2 for Focus Home Interactive, but there's no guarantees there, and it all comes down to what Big Ben's management is like. Whenever a new manager enters the scene, there's a tendency for them to throw their weight around simply to show that they are in charge. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope Big Ben's managers are a little more pragmatic. We'll see what happens. But it's a little concerning that we haven't seen a lot of news about Blood Bowl. I think this was a mistake. I should have put her here, then pushed this Black Hawk over here. Never mind, let's see how things go. Dauntless kicks in, and because the Black Hawk has no block, he is going down. Now this is interesting. I can surf this Blitzer, but before I do that, I have to position one player here to cancel this assist. Okay, my Norse Berserker, can you do something here? It's sort of risky, isn't it? Do I want to try a blitz and then move him out of danger? Let's pick this guy up first. Okay. Nope. I'm going to reroll. The opportunity to take out an Orc Blitzer to regain parity is much too tempting, and it didn't work anyway. So one dice. Let's see if you can do something here. Okay, we got him down. I'm going to stay here. Massive hit from the Bretonian Blitzer stuns the Orc. Okay, got 48 seconds left because I've been flapping my gums. Okay, can you dodge out again? Yes, you can. Only agility 3, but dodging like an elf. End the turn. So the last major update for Blood Bowl 2 was the Legendary Edition expansion, and that was way back in September, I think 2017. Since then, Cyanide has put out a few patches. The most recent one was sort of kind of odd. They released a patch for Asus Aura, which is sort of a feature that makes your computer look like a Christmas. It looks like everything is colored. If you have a keyboard that lights up like your house on Christmas, if you have a motherboard that lights up, I'm not sure why, but some people really love that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think the reason Cyanide included that because Asus provided a lot of hardware for prizes for the recent World Cup, so I think it was you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back scenario. Okay, we're down to 9 now. Unbelievable. That was an AV8 player. Things are not going well. Ball is over here. I don't see how we can prevent this. Touchdown. Actually, we might be able to do something because we have Kislev catchers. Cancel this assist over here. Can get a one-die block against the goblin. It's unlikely to succeed because the goblin has dodge, making it hard to knock down. Pick you up. Cancel your assist. Can you dodge out? You can. You rolled a 6. And now... %. Let's do this. Of course not. Team reroll. This is an opportunity to steal the ball. So this is not likely to succeed. Let's try anyway. Okay, we managed to knock both ourselves down. Both of us have AV7. Let's see what Nuffle does here. Okay. Nuffle decided to leave both players on the pitch, but then gave the ball to the Orc Blitz. So anyway, the last patch for Blood Bowl 2 also accidentally revealed some con teams for the Eternal League. Apparently the names were there, but models were not. Sort of an odd bug to make it in, because if you take a look at the database, apparently a few players have done that. Khorne were not the only additional team. I think Slaanesh was also there. But kind of odd that the Khorne team made it into the Eternal League. So I'm not sure what was going on there. Was this an accidental reveal? According to a Focus Home interactive representative on the boards, it was an accident, a bug, and not meant as an indication that the Khorne were imminent. But again, kind of odd. I hope that Cyanide releases at least one more expansion for Blood Bowl 2. People have been talking about a Blood Bowl 2 Chaos Edition. I hope that's the case. You can add a few teams, and I hope they also put in some work into the Eternal League, put in some work for the AI for the Eternal League. Can we get the ball? Doesn't look like it. Can perform a 2D block here. And perform a 1 dice block against the ball carrier. I think before we do that, prepare for failure. Okay, I think I just made a mistake there. See if we can do something about that. Okay, another mistake. Oh, I should have dodged over here. So GFI 83%, 5 out of 6. Let's see if this works. It does. Potentially. %. This is 89% because the blitzer has dodge. It worked. Huzzah. I have to try over here. Follow. I do not want to attempt to catch the ball with a 17% chance. Skip. Unbelievable. Once again, the Orc team manages to regain the ball. Okay, what can we do here? This is a 1 dice. Do I want to do that? Is it necessary? No. Would it be nice? Yes. This is turn 4. 4 turns remaining. Let's do this. Dauntless kicks in. It's only a push. Yeah, this is looking poor. So in the meanwhile, while we're waiting for additional Blood Bowl 2 content, Cyanide has, for whatever reason, decided that time was ripe for an update of Blood Bowl Blitz mode. They've released Blood Bowl Death Zone, which is a real-time version of Blood Bowl. If you remember the older versions of Blood Bowl, Chaos Edition and whatnot, they included a real-time mode called Blitz mode. So Cyanide, for whatever reason, is still committed to trying to make that work. Blood Bowl Death Zone was released as part of an early access. It's self-published. It's not published by Focus Home, which is unusual. So they've released it as early access, and that means if there's interest, if players buy into the early access program, Cyanide will have enough funding or enough confidence to continue development. But if you take a look at Steam charts, well, things are going all to hell on the field. But if you take a look at Steam charts for Blood Bowl Death Zone, the average number of players is 1. Average number of daily players for Blood Bowl Death Zone, a real-time version of Blood Bowl, is 1. So things not exactly looking rosy for that. I'm not sure whether Cyanide is going to stubbornly continue working on that. I'd rather the developers concentrate on Blood Bowl 2, because they've got 400 players playing the game on average on a daily basis. Not 400 players playing daily, it's 400 players playing at any given moment. Same thing for Blood Bowl Death Zone. When I say one player at any given moment on average, that doesn't mean daily. It means at any given moment. So that's a bit of a mistake on my part. But for Blood Bowl 2, they have at any given moment there are 400 players playing the game. So it seems to me that Blood Bowl 2 should be where the focus would be, or should be, for Cyanide. But again, the purchase by Big Ben has really don't know what the future holds for Blood Bowl. Don't know what the future holds for Focus and Cyanide. How that relationship is going to be going forward. So a lot of question marks. Hopefully someone will clarify soon. Because I think Blood Bowl is a fantastic game, and I think Cyanide have done a really good job with the digital version. You wouldn't think that is the case from the Steam discussion forums or the Reddit forums or whatever, because people keep criticizing Cyanide for this, for that, and it's mostly for minor reasons. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to go for broke here. Take this guy down. Dauntless. Okay. Okay. Sort of leaves this guy in a vulnerable position. He's going to get hammered by this Black Orc here. But now I've opened up space over here. Now I'm going to attempt to blitz with the Amazon Blitzer. Let's prep for failure first. Just move this guy closer in. It's a one dice block, but we have block and the Orc Thrower does not. Let's see if this works. It does not. I'm going to reroll because I think this is a pivotal moment in the match. And we have 4 turns remaining. Did not work either. Okay, that's okay. Do I want to follow? Yes, let's just follow. Dodge out and put him right next to the her right next to the Orc Thrower. Leap out. Okay, that did not work. Well, at least he didn't get injured. Always look on the bright side of life. But on the whole, you have to say that Cyanide have done a very good job with Blood Bowl license. I think the clearest indication of that is that players who've spent a lot of time on Fumble now prefer to play the Cyanide version. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are still players who enjoy playing on Fumble, but it's really nice to have this level of visual representation. It's nice to have all this quality of life improvements. Okay, we are completely out of position now. Can still get a 2 dice block, but it's going to require some dicey dodges. I hope Cyanide continues working on Blood Bowl. I hope the new owners back them to the hilt, and I hope Focus Home get to work with Cyanide in the future as well, because Focus Home have been doing a lot of work to promote Blood Bowl. The Champions ladder, for example, has cash prizes, and the recent World Cup had a lot of hardware from Asus as prizes as well, and that was due to Focus Home Interactive doing the legwork to gain sponsors for that. Yeah, we can't get through the ball, and it doesn't look like we can prevent the touchdown. Stay. This frees up the Norse Berserker. Stand up. Leap. Once again fail. Still have a slim chance of preventing the touchdown. Let's try roll the dice here. We can't get the ball in this turn. Once again, a successful dodge from an agility 3 player. And now this lineman who has performed some pretty cool dodges, can he dodge out again? My guess is no. My guess is wrong. Thankfully, make a token attempt to put up a roadblock here. Keep this player here, chances are he's going to get smacked down again. But I think I like to keep these two players occupied. Okay, end the turn. Where was I previously? Oh yeah, talking about how Cyanide has done a good job. Cyanide have been producing Blood Bowl games since 2009. That was when the first Blood Bowl digital version by them was released. So they've been working on Blood Bowl for close to a decade now. And I think they've been very good for Blood Bowl as a whole. When they started, I think there were about average 200 players at any given moment. Right now, according to Steam charts, any given moment there are about 400 players. So they've slowly managed to bring players into the game, and that's good. I think a lot of problems with Blood Bowl 2 right now has to do with the small player base. The open ladder and the champions ladder, I think, could really benefit from additional players. I think one of the things preventing that is because Blood Bowl is a very complicated game. Yeah, it looks kind of risky here. If I block with a Berserker, his Frenzy is going to kick in, leaving him with a red dice block. Or rolling 2 dice uphill against this Blitzer and an assist from the Orc Thrower. Here I get a 2 dice block, but I'm without block and the target has block. Let's try this. Okay, so much for that. So it looks like the Orcs can score the touchdown now. Did not manage to pick up this player. Nor this player. Oh, this player was stunned, wasn't he? So anyway, Blood Bowl is a very hard game to learn. It takes you about 20 hours simply to learn the basic rules, I would say. It would take you another, let's say, 40 hours to consistently beat the AI. At which point you would go to online. Drop, no. So the Orcs take the lead and we are behind in our first match. We are 2 players down. Not a great position to be in. I think there's a huge gap between the AI and multiplayer scene, which is why I think Games Workshop Cyanide or Focus. Yeah, there's not much we can do here. It is possible to score a one-turn touchdown with AV7 players, and even with AV6 players if you have a frenzy player, but I'm not seeing any way of doing that, and I am not particularly good. I've never actually scored a one-turn touchdown. I've seen it. I generally know how it's supposed to go. You push into players, perform chain pushes to push your player up, but I've never actually accomplished it. So what do we do now? I think the only thing we can do here is try to gain 1 SPP from passing the ball. Perform a few blocks. Maybe we'll get very lucky. Okay, diving catch. Excellent. So this is setting up for the quick pass. We'll do that later. Perform a 2-die block here. We succeed. Doesn't matter where he goes because we're not going to accomplish much on this turn. It's going to be hard to break the AV9, but let's try one final block here. You know what? I should have blitzed with the Berserker. I should have targeted this Blitzer, attempted to push him off the field. So that was, I think, a mistake on my part. Let's try this. 67% to try for Dauntless to kick in. I don't think we need it. We don't. I think that is that. If I had 11 players and this was multiplayer, I would be tempted to foul the troll. Not really necessary, but because I'm down by 2 players right now, I can't afford to lose a player by committing a foul that is caught by the ref. So I'm simply going to pass, try to gain 1 SPP here. Okay, that is that. So I think the focus for Blood Bowl's creators and developers should be on education. Try to do a lot of work to teach players, players here I mean coaches, to play the game. Again, it's a very complicated game. It takes a long time to wrap your head around all the rules, because there are a lot of exceptions, there are a lot of gotchas. I think this is good enough. Not much I can do here. This might very well be a draw. Not an auspicious start. Might even be a defeat. This should be safe. Let's move up one square. So this is pretty much a gamble here. I'm attempting to score early. Try to get the victory, but it's pretty much a roll of the dice here. Probably a dumb move. We have to make some risky moves now, I think. Relatively safe because both the Amazon Blitzers have dodge. Now this one is probably going to fail. Once again, this lineman with agility 3 manages to perform a flawless dodge. Very impressive. So one of the surefire signs that Blood Bowl is tough to learn is that you can see a lot of complaints about the RNG being broken, the AI cheating from new players. These are players who have played about 20 hours, they still haven't wrapped their heads around the game and are convinced there's no skill involved in the game. Anyone who's played the game for a while will know Blood Bowl is in fact a game of both skill and luck. Luck definitely plays a part, don't get me wrong, but it actually takes a backseat to skill. I think one of the ways you can determine that for yourself is going to a website called Goblin Spy. It is hosted on the domain modric.com, and what that does is it has a database of online matches going back many seasons. And by looking through the database, you will find there are players who win 70% of their online matches. So I'm going to attempt a risky move here. Alright, 2 SPV for the Norse Berserker. The Orcs are down to 10. 9 versus 10. Now this is going to be a very risky play. I think it's time to roll the dice. The Kislev catches gains another SPP, taking it up to 2. Bretonian Blitzer is not exactly safe. Yeah, he's going to get knocked down by this black orc. Yeah, I don't see any other way out of it. It's either go for a draw or go for a victory. I need this dodge, so I'm going to use the reroll if necessary. I think I also need this GFI. Do I? I think I just keep him here. Now this Amazon Blitzer, what do I do with her? Need to do something about these two Orc Blitzers. These players are completely out of position. Okay, ran out of time, which typically happens to me in online. Just simply overthink things and run out of time. Anyway, I was talking about how some players have a 70% win rate, and which is not something you would expect if you think Blood Bowl is completely random or the RNG plays too great a part in the game. So what is this? What is extraordinary about this is a 70% win rate at the champs ladder level, where I would say the best players in Cyanide's version of Blood Bowl ply their trade. One dice block fails. Reroll. Ha ha. What do I do here? Six turns. 5 turns after this. I don't know why I chose this graphic for my team. I think I simply forgot to switch it. Why is there a fish? Why would I choose a fish? Anyway, going to score 3 SPP for the Bretonian Blitzer. It would have been nice to level up someone in this match. Still have 5 turns remaining. This is pretty much a gamble. We are down 1 player, but we are down 2 players. But the Orc team is down by 1. I do have 3 rerolls, and the Orcs are down to 1. So anyway, 70% win rate. Why is that interesting? Because if you take a look at Champions Ladder 18, Champions Ladder 17, Champions Ladder 16, it is the same names that keep on showing up whenever you look through the database for players who've played more than 20 matches and have a 70% win rate. if the game was completely random, you would not expect that. Being very aggressive here. My guess is the Norse Berserker is going to take a pounding. Prime target for a blitz, but can't be helped. Simply out of players here. Pretty much a gamble to go for the victory. So if Blood Bowl was completely random, you would not have the same players gaining a 70% win rate season after season after season. So what is it that these players are doing that is netting them a lot of victories? Well, you don't have to guess. One of the great things about Cyanide's version of Blood Bowl is it has a robust replay feature, so you can look at the names, you can look at the players who have consistently a high win rate, and you can take a look at the replays of their matches, and you can see how they play. And at the Champions ladder, players tend to be very cautious compared to new players. New players tend to be very aggressive, tend to be very reckless. Pretty much what I'm doing now. But I'm playing against the AI, so I think no harm, no foul. So we got a bit of luck there. So I mean, if you're interested in Blood Bowl and if you're not convinced that there's a lot of skill involved, I would urge you to look at the Champions Ladder replays, either in-game or you can go to YouTube or Twitch to see how the best players are playing. You will find that they are very cautious, they are very they are not very greedy about using their team rerolls. They tend to keep their team rerolls for pivotal moments. They are very disciplined when it comes to their team rerolls. They are very disciplined when it comes to their movement, when it goes to their blitzers. I think you can learn a lot by watching them play, and you will be able to improve your game as well. But there's also another thing you can do. I would urge you to read a book. Unfortunately, it's not exactly Blood Bowl related, because Blood Bowl books tend to be comic books or story books. I don't know why Games Workshop has not produced a strategy guide for Blood Bowl. It would seem to be a no-brainer. So this is going for victory. Very risky. Oops, failed dodge from an Amazon Blitzer. Luckily she didn't get injured. Got two players here lurking ominously close to the ball carrier. Ball carrier does have dodge, but he also has only strength 2. Let's see what happens, see how the AI positions him. So anyway, I was recommending the book. I will also know there's a anthology of stories, a collection coming which is Blood Bowl related. I can't remember what it's called. Blood Bowl Death on a Pitch. I don't know. Anyway, it's coming out next month. You can find a pre-order on Amazon. I'm not really too interested about that. What I was hoping to see from either Games Workshop, we are unlikely to see it from Cyanide or Focus, but a strategy guide for Blood Bowl. Something that takes players from or coaches from I don't know anything about Blood Bowl to a place where they are consistently beating the AI and hopefully being competitive in the, say, at the open ladder level. I think there's definitely a market for that. Huge gap over here. So I need to prepare for failure, and this Bretonian Blitzer is going to be the only one preventing this block of players moving forward. I'm going to leave this catcher alone first. If we can knock down this goblin, we have 3 team rerolls, we have 4 turns remaining. Now let's see what this Blitzer can do. It's your moment to shine, Watchman. Or Watchman rather. This is not shining. This is shining. Where's the ball going to bounce? Tempted to perform a GFI here, but instead already used my reroll. Pick you up. Yeah, the Orcs have so many players over here. I think I'm going to have to risk it. 2 out of 3, and then I have to dodge out, which is 83%. 2 out of 3, pivotal moment in the match, don't have a reroll handy. Do I really want to do this? Let's. Okay. Alright. Ball is not safe. Not at all. I wish that worked, because I would love to have positioned this catcher closer to the ball. Let's see what the Orcs do here. We have the ball, we have 3 turns remaining, we have 2 rerolls remaining. Can we score the touchdown to earn the victory in the first match for this team? So instead of recommending a Blood Bowl strategy guide, what I'm going to recommend is players who are interested in Blood Bowl, pick up a book called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. It has nothing to do with Blood Bowl. It is about complex decision making in the face of uncertainty. Annie Duke's game of choice was poker. She's done very well as a poker player. She's won millions of dollars, and she's gone on to write books and lecture about the lessons she's gleaned from poker and applying that to life. And I think Blood Bowl players would benefit a lot from reading that. Should work. Okay, frenzy kicks in, but I do have an assist. Okay, well, I was hoping for a knockdown, but that's quite alright. Now I can just free up this player. Hopefully I managed to push back this goblin, or better yet, knock him down. Okay. Is it 9 versus 9 now? It is. Freed up this Bretonian Blitzer. Mark this Black Orc, prevent him from moving freely. So the Kislev catcher does have a leap and very long legs, which gives him an 83% chance to leap. But the Orcs have so many players free. How far can you leap? Yeah. Tough call. This is the best I can do. 2 turns after this. Stand you up. You're just going to get hit again, but I don't think there's anything left. I should have dodged. This was a mistake. This was a huge mistake here. I wanted to leap out. This should have been a leap followed by a to provide some protection. What's going to happen now is this Orc Blitzer is going to get a 2 dice block against this catcher. So that was very poor. That was a mistake. I was distracted there. Okay, let's see what happens. So anyway, one of the key lessons that any Duke teaches early in the book is that it is possible to make wonderful miss next game as well. Don't confuse the quality of decision making with the outcome. It is possible to make a great decision and yet suffer a terrible outcome in a game where luck plays a part. For example, in Blood Bowl, it is possible to make an excellent decision, but because the dice doesn't, or the RNG doesn't go your way, you fail. But don't confuse the quality of the decision making with the result. Straightforward, 89% for the victory. Let's do that. The example she gave was from the NFL, where the coach of the Seahawks had a chance to win the match and performed a passing play instead of a handoff at the 1 yard line. The pass was intercepted, so the coach was pilloried because his team lost the Super Bowl. But if you take a look at the decision, it was actually a sound decision that had a terrible outcome. In the previous 15 seasons, there was only a 2% chance the pass would be intercepted. So 98% chance of success. The decision was sound. Unfortunately, the outcome was terrible, but that doesn't detract from the quality of the decision. It is possible to make a good decision in Blood Bowl but suffer a terrible outcome. It is also possible to make a terrible decision in Blood Bowl and get a positive outcome, and I think that is one of the mistakes new players make. 2 turns is possible for the AI to score. Not very likely, but it is possible. One guy safety. Just do not have enough players to mount a defense here. This will have to do. So an example Annie Duke gave in a book about a terrible decision that has a positive outcome is you're drunk, you decide to drive home, but you arrive home safely. Why is that bad in the long run? Because if you make a terrible decision and have a positive outcome, you would use the outcome to continue making that same terrible decision. If you keep on driving home drunk, eventually you will not only suffer immensely, most probably you're going to make others on the road suffer as well. So it is possible to make a terrible decision and have a positive outcome, and I think that is where new players go wrong. They make a terrible decision or terrible plays in Blood Bowl, but manage to win, and then they continue making the same terrible decisions in subsequent matches and fail, and that is where the frustration comes in. If they manage to win by playing terribly in one match, they are not going to change the way they play, and thus what is going to happen is they are going to have a terrible win rate. And since most human beings aren't likely to raise their hand and acknowledge that they have in fact played poorly, no chance for the Orc to score, so no chance for me to score either. I think this is pretty much a case of try to gain some SPP. Not likely to break a AV9. I did. But no injury, so no SPP there. Where's the next block? Let's try this. Let's try this. So the Orcs do have another turn after this, so I do not want to get my players injured. I'm already missing my Kislev catcher from the next match. Dodge out, try to prevent injuries. This should be straightforward. 89%. Okay, this is kind of dodgy, but I do have a team reroll handy. Move you all the way back. So pretty amazing. I haven't used any team rerolls in this half. Can we get an injury? I don't think so. Nope. So that is that for me. See what the Orcs do. So the problem with making terrible decisions and having positive outcomes is that you don't learn from your terrible decision making. You keep on making the same mistakes, which is why you see a lot of players complaining about the RNG. They're using the RNG as a convenient scapegoat for their own failings. They don't actually know how much they don't know about playing Blood Bowl, so they are looking for a scapegoat, and the RNG makes a very convenient scapegoat. So if there's one area of improvement, I think Games Workshop should produce a strategy guide for Blood Bowl, and in the event they do not, I think the player base should take it upon themselves to make a concerted effort to bring new players into the game by to teach them how to play well. Not asking the player base to teach new players to win at the champs ladder level. That's not the goal. The goal should be to get the new players to win consistently against low level players, either at the open ladder level or against the AI. I think it's doable, but right now a lot of players are in fact doing that. So the SPP goes to the injured lineman. We get 15 SPP in our first match, not too bad. Only 25% ball possession, 2 passes, 2 successful catches, 1 injury inflicted. Meanwhile, the Orcs took 3 of us out. We did perform more blocks, but because the Orcs have heavy armor, they were relatively unscathed. So that was the first match for the Human League mixed team. Who are we playing next? Against the Chaos Dwarf. Oh my god. We only get 20. How much do we have in terms of prize money? 50k. I think that 50k is going to go towards the apothecary. We are going to get a journeyman for our next match against the Chaos Dwarfs. So we will have 11 players. Oh, they only have 1 Bull Centaur. How many Chaos Dwarfs? 3, 6, a full complement. They are missing 1 player. That's most probably the Bull Centaur. Did the Bull Centaur get murdered? Huh? The AI considered. What? What happened in the last match? The Rotting Shades performed 1 block. Sorry, 8 blocks, managed to 1 kill, and then the AI opponent conceded. What? I didn't even realize the AI conceded against the AI. That was odd. Wait, both teams had deaths? What happened here? Tempted to watch the replay here. There's no replay for AI matches, so 1 death apiece. I don't even know what happened here. Bizarre. So anyway, the player base for Blood Bowl 2 has been producing a lot of content geared towards new players, but I don't think there's been a sustained effort to make a concerted, make a definitive guide for new Blood Bowl players. There are elements all over the place. BB Tactics is fantastic for coaches who have played for about 20 hours and looking for ideas to upgrade level up their players or create new teams. But again, you need about 20 hours of knowledge in the game before BB tactics becomes useful. Fumbles help section has some useful tips for setting up offensive setups and defensive setups for teams. Also has some good brief racial guides for the different teams, but I think there's definitely a place for a comprehensive guide that puts it all together in one place. I'm not sure whether an individual player would be able to produce all that, probably asking too much, but it's something the player base should look into. Anyway, that is that for the first team for the Human League mixed team. We are playing the Chaos Dwarf team next. I will see you next time.